Good evening. Welcome to 6 Minutes. I am Stephen Abdu, sitting in with Elena Rui. Tonight we will be discussing free trade. Free trade can be described as the movement of goods and services among nations with no political or economic obstructions. Here's Elena with more on the topic.
Thanks, Steve. President Obama has always been in favor for free trade and a supporter for the North American Free Trade Agreement. He used this as a platform in his campaigns as president. Here are some clips showing President Obama's view on free trade and NAFTA.
And what I have said, because the free trade, the trade agreement itself does have labor and environmental protections, but we have to stand for human rights, and we have to make sure that violence isn't being perpetrated against workers who are just trying to organize for their rights. Which is why, for example, I supported the Peruvian Free Trade Agreement, which was a well-structured agreement. But I think that the important point is we've got to have a president who understands the benefits of free trade, but also is going to enforce unfair trade agreements and is going to stand up to other countries. Last point.
Along with President Obama's view on free trade, many see other positive aspects as well. One of the biggest effects is the increase in productivity for a nation while also inspiring innovation. Also, with global competition, price tends to stay down. NAFTA shows a free trade agreement between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. Other examples of free trade agreements can be seen in Europe with the European Union and in Asia with the Asian Pacific Free Trade Agreement. Aside from the positives, some Americans see free trade differently. Earlier today, Elena interviewed a local business owner to learn her stance on free trade. Let's take a look.
Hello, I'm here with local business owner Erica Colucci. Thank you for meeting with me today, Erica.
My pleasure.
So, Erica, how do you feel about free trade?
I'm completely against it.
May I ask why?
I've unfortunately had to lay off my workers because of free trade.
How come?
Due to increased imports and production shifts, I have been forced to make pay cuts and lay people off.
Can you explain the effects of the pay cuts?
Other foreign companies can offer products at a lower wage because of their wage rates rising, their productivity, and lowering mine. Because of this, I have to cut expenses in order to make a profit for my business.
Again, thank you for being here with me today, Erica. When looking at the disadvantages of free trade, consider the case of Kenya.
1970s, Kenya's future looked bright, with a growing economy and an industry starting to thrive. However, in the 1980s, for the return of aid from rich countries, strict liberalisation was enforced. The government had to reduce support for its farmers, cut tariffs, and deregulate markets. And yet when Kenya wanted entry into the WTO in the 1990s, further liberalisation was expected. Cheap, often subsidised goods from richer countries flooded the markets, from shoes and sugar to steel. The result has been fatal for Kenya's young industries, and their vulnerable farmers didn't stand a chance in competition with rich, powerful companies and countries. Moving to the 21st century, Kenya now faces the future with devastated industries, mass unemployment, and a generation without education. More Kenyans live in poverty now than they did in the 1970s. Fewer children go to school, fewer children are vaccinated, and more children die. Around the world, many artisans and producers of products such as cotton, cocoa, coffee, tea, and handcrafts are marginalised due to the regulations put in place by large Western governments. This happens because more than 99% of world trade is conducted by the West, through rich governments and large companies and corporations, including the World Trading Organization and the World Banking Organization. They control the way trade is conducted through agreements and rules that they have created to protect their own interests. Not only do these imposed trade regulations allow cheap products to be dumped on poor countries' fledgling markets, they charge high taxes on imported goods so poor countries can only afford to export raw materials like cocoa and cotton. It is the rich who turn these into more valuable products and reap the rewards. Kenya is not alone. Poor countries only account for 0.4% of global trade. This makes them powerless to fight back. Trade rules need to change. The rules need to allow the 2.8 billion people living on less than $2 a day the chance to work themselves out of poverty.
Many advantages and disadvantages, and continues to be a widely debated topic today.
This concludes tonight's episode of 6 Minutes. Thank you for tuning in and have a great night. Until next time.